Throughout taking African American studies theory and research methods, I was continuously grateful for being taught how to decenter whiteness in social sciences and humanities research methodologies. This was important to my development as an Africana studies scholar and activist because I was able to finally center my identities in social sciences and humanities research methodologies, and it helped me realize what perspectives our history was being taught from, whether they were from a Eurocentric point of view or an Afrocentric point of view. This opened my eyes to see how I was being conditioned into thinking in only a singular perspective rather than having multiple points of view. It changed how I consider history, how I research, how I ask questions, and how I construct society. This course goal was important to my personal intellectual growth in the way that it opened my eyes, it paved a different way in research for myself, and it realigned how I would see the world rather than see one perspective. So beforehand, I was only looking at history through an American point of view, through a Western point of view, and wasn't considering the other point of view of like how thinking in an Afrocentric point of view would change how I ask questions, how I research, how I'm considering research, how the research is being framed in certain situations. And this also impacted my personal growth in the way that it changes in how I look at myself by knowing that my history is not completely in the perspective of my perspective, or the history that, or perspective that would aid me, or rather than in a perspective that only aids someone else. It also helps my personal growth by knowing that there's different histories out there that we haven't talked about. So, for example, a resource that helped with this thinking was The Danger of a Single Story, which was a talk done by, what was her name?
Now this, sorry. Despite...
What was her name? Chimamanda Adichie, who talks about how we only speak on one story and don't know about others. We prioritize this group singular story, and then we forget about anything else. We don't consider the intersections that might be within these stories. We don't consider what perspective it's coming from. We don't consider who's telling the story, what's their background. We don't consider these things. We just consider the single story, which could be just that, oh, America is great, but why is America great? What makes America great? What are those things? That's the danger of the single story. Or is America really great? Because blah, blah, blah. Which point of view is America great from? Is it great for who, for what, and why? These things and that. It helps you tackle these questions in a different manner. Another resource that helped this point of linking, or that helped decenter whiteness in social sciences and humanities research methodologies, was the paper about unthinkable histories, where you think about, let me pull it up, by Trio, but that you have to think about histories that haven't been written down and that haven't been told, and that might not exactly align with your experience. This helped in the way that history is not always told accurately, and that sometimes there is history that we don't know about that has happened, and that might, add to your experience, but it hasn't been told yet. It's an unthinkable history because it hasn't been told. And another resource that helped with framing this thinking and helping with my research is which is the book Critical Race Theory, and the Africana Research Methodologies book as well. Those two resources helped me be able to frame and see the theories that I would be applying to my research, as well as being able to write the research in a way that is actually Afrocentric. So it gave me the foundational work and the theories to use while doing research. Those two texts were very important. And overall, from all these resources, I gained the ability to decenter whiteness in social sciences and humanities research methodologies, because I was able to not see a single story, not think of only a single story, think of multiple stories, to know that there's an unthinkable history, or that history is not exactly as we know it. It is continuously changing, or being continuously reframed, and that how we frame and how we research determines who is being centered in this argument. But overall, I was really grateful for taking this class and being able to gain a wide variety of resources and of histories that would aid me further in my Africana studies. I was able to learn about Pan-Africanism, Garveyism, Kimberly Crenshaw, Frantz Fanon. It was an experience that wasn't centering whiteness at all. We didn't even talk about a single white person who wrote anything that I can remember. So I think this course greatly achieved this objective and was able to show this decentering of whiteness throughout its the resources that were available to me, and especially in those 3 or 4 that I mentioned. But thank you. Nice to see you. Hope to see you soon, Dr. Ruther. Hope you have a good day.